There's some really significant breaking news to tell you about on the FBI front. The head of the New York field office, James Dennehy, has retired under intense pressure. He had tangled with the Trump administration over their demand that the names of all FBI agents who worked on or touched any January 6 cases be handed over. In a letter to staff earlier this month that we covered on this program, Dennehy had written this, quote, "Today we find ourselves in the middle of a battle of our own, as good people are being walked out of the FBI and others are being targeted because they did their jobs in accordance with the law and FBI policy." He added this, quote, "Time for me to dig in," end quote. That list of names was eventually handed over. Two sources tell NBC News that Dennehy was given a choice to retire or be fired, and he chose to retire earlier today. Let's bring into our coverage former top official, the Department of Justice, former FBI General Counsel, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissmann, also joining us at the table, the co-founder and CEO of Rappler, the leading digital media and news organization in the Philippines, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021, the author of, quote, "How to Stand Up to a Dictator, The Fight for Our Future." Maria Ressa is back. She's also a board member of the Committee to Protect Journalists. Someone who's talked us through these times, and we're gonna get to the journalism front, but we start here at the FBI. A big blow.
Big blow. This is somebody who, just like we saw in the prosecutor's office in New York, the prosecutor's office in Main Justice, the prosecutor's office in D.C., it's useful to remember, this sort of resistance started at the FBI. And this is sort of the next rung below the director and the deputy director. All of the assistant directors, the heads of the field offices, of which this fellow is the largest field office in the Bureau. This is sort of the crown jewel. I say that not just as a native New Yorker. I mean, it really has the most people, has the most work. It is the core of the terrorism program, is here. And this is somebody who basically had to be forced out by the Trump administration because he was, by all accounts, saying, you know what, I was trained to believe in facts and law. So it's, again, another sign of where we are. It's really important to see this as part of that larger story as to what's going on in the administration writ large, but it's certainly within the Department of Justice. I cannot stress to you, Nicolle, how unusual this is. The only other time I can think of anyone of note leaving the department because of being asked to do something that they viewed as against the law or just not supported by the facts was in the first Trump administration. But that was a small group of people. This is full bore. And to me, that is just exactly representative of the difference between where we were in Trump 1.0 and where we are now.
And what would Kash Patel and Dan Bongino want that Dennehy couldn't have given them if he'd run that office? Somebody
who was going to be fact-based and law-based and was saying that out loud. Remember, this is exactly what Denise Chung, the head of the criminal division, was saying to her boss and to the Deputy Attorney General's office, which was the facts do not support it and the law does not support it. And what's remarkable is that is a firing offense. Just to remember what Mr. Dennehy, Special Agent Dennehy's position was, it was that there is nothing wrong with having worked on the investigation of people who participated in the January 6th insurrection. We all saw that. It's worth noting, this isn't misconduct. It would be a dereliction of duty not to have done those cases. And the idea, just remember, this is a public servant with a long career, not just at the FBI, but in the military, who is sitting there saying, I can't stomach this. I mean, it's remarkable. But he didn't. They're printing, This is real news, real breaking news in the making. When it makes me stammer, I can see the story coming out the printer. He's putting out publicly that he was forced out. I want to read to you from his resignation message. Eddie, you have that? Thank you. This is how it happens. Sorry, not so glamorous. In his retirement message to colleagues, former head of the FBI New York field office says he was forced out. Quote, "I've been told many times in my life when you find yourself in a hole, sometimes it's best to quit digging. Screw that.
I will never stop defending this joint. Full message, all. Quote, late Friday, I was informed that I needed to put my retirement papers in today, which I just did. I was not given a reason for this decision. Regardless, I apologize to all of you for not being able to fulfill my commitment to you to serve as ADICNY. What's that?
Assistant Director in Charge. They're one of 3 people, the largest field offices in the country, New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. I can't stress enough how big and important a job is. But for sort of the director and the deputy director, I mean, this is the most important position in the department.
Let me read his message in full then. As I leave today, I have an immense feeling of pride to have represented an office of professionals who will always do the right thing for the right reasons, who will always seek the truth while upholding the rule of law, who will always follow the facts no matter where they lead and be unapologetic about it, who will never bend, break, falter, or quit on your integrity, who will always handle cases and evidence with an overabundance of caution and care for the innocent, the victims, and the process first, and who will always remain independent. With that, here is my final top 10 list. Top 10 things I'll miss about the FBI. The commute to work, not. The investigations, doesn't matter what squad you are on, the work is the best in the world. The intensity. You have to be in it to realize what I mean. But we all know how significant what we do is. The FBI brand. Do not fret. Those 3 letters still mean something. And there's only a select group of folks in this world, past and present, who can say they're with the FBI. Be proud of that. The camaraderie within our own bureau family and with all law enforcement, local, state, federal, and international. There is no better fraternity in the world. The opportunity to put on a suit and tie to conduct interviews in the morning, throw on some street clothes to conduct surveillance in the afternoon, debrief a sensitive source at a safe house overnight, and then get up early for a SWAT arrest the next morning, then rinse and repeat. The badge, what it took to earn it and what it means to carry it. The independence. We will not bend. We will not falter. We will not sacrifice what is right for anything or anyone. 2, the impact. Our work helps shape foreign policy, community awareness, international relations, wartime decisions, and public safety every single day. Number 1, all of you, every single one of you who has earned your position within this phenomenal organization. I've been told many times in my life, when you find yourself in a hole, sometimes it's best to quit digging. Screw that. I will never stop defending this joint. I'll just do it willingly and proudly from outside the wire. Wow.
Nicolle, when you were in government and I was in government, when you were seeing leaders, what you had sort of front and center was looking at people like this and figuring out how do I support their mission, and how do I sort of get out of their way, and what do they need operationally, and that statement sort of gives you a sense of the people, the mission of the FBI.
Can I press you, though? What do you want if you don't want him?
Exactly. I mean,
but say it. What do you want if you don't want that person?
To me, it means that you want somebody who's going to just do whatever you say. Remember, the FBI is trained on facts and it's trained on law. It has to go to court. It has to also look at themselves in the mirror. If you do not want this, it is because you are looking at a system which does not believe in facts and does not believe in law. And you don't need just this example. It's the reason you see so many people quitting, saying, I can't do this. But it's the same reason that you see attacks on judges who say you can't do this. It's the same reason you see attacks on the media calling it out. It's the same reason you see on the international stage not believing in the international rule of law, of denigrating all of their systems. It is when you believe only in transactions and you believe only in the law of the jungle, this is what you get. And this is such a heartfelt example that gives people insight into what the FBI is, but also a real insight into the people who are denigrating it.
I just think quickly, our mission in this moment is to have our eyes wide open and cut right to the bone of the truth. And the truth is, if you're against these 10 things, you're against the rule of law. And that's what's at the FBI right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the two things you've said, facts and law. That's the foundation of every institution, of every democracy, right? And I think as the FBI has come under attack, kudos to Special Agent Dennehy for his position. He's a whistleblower, as are all the others who have resigned. And I think our task as journalists is going to be to dig deep what forced them to resign in principle, on principle. This was something we didn't have in the Philippines. We had a president in 2016 who just pulled loyalty and was able to, within a short period of time, move the Philippines from allying with the United States to China and Russia, without telling our ministry, our Secretary of Foreign Affairs and our Foreign Affairs Department. But I think this is, for America today, it's exactly what you said, Nicolle. What we're seeing is the utter transformation of institutions that are getting weaker by the second as men and women resign, who are standing by facts and rule of law.